Mrs. Helen Wells say that Hvac excels academically in both reading and math, and both English and Spanish part of our dual language program. She participates and tries her best, from practicing her handwriting to solving a complex problem. She gives the same effort. She is respectful not only to the adults at school, but also to her fellow students. She's quick to help if someone is struggling. Mr. Evans, our music teacher. Talia enters our music classroom with a joyful spirit and smile. She is quick to notice when her peers need help. She's a beautiful singer and eager to learn and explore whatever we are doing. And Mrs. Steinmetz, our PE teacher, says that Talia is a confident and energetic student, has a good work ethic, and does things to the best of her ability. She is personable and a friend to everyone, which enhance her leadership skills. I'm happy to get to teach Talia in both the second grade reading group and PE. Thank you, parents, for doing such a great job. Our K2 Student of the Month, Talia Garcia.
Make it a full serum on the interview, ready?
Fingers. Nice job. That plays really good.
And I see Francisco back there. Francisco Tena, come on up. All right, Francisco, if you want to hang out right here, we're going to say some nice things about you, our 3rd to 5th grade student of the month. El señor Méndez, el maestro de español, dice: Francisco le echa muchas ganas y esfuerzo a sus estudios y se ve. Gracias por todo su esfuerzo y ejemplo a los demás. Mr. Moore, his English teacher, says Francisco tries to think through challenges with his work. He never gives up. Mr. Evans, our music teacher, says Francisco is so kind and gentle. I enjoy his quiet sense of humor and his clear and lovely singing voice. Mrs. Steinmetz, our PE teacher, says Francisco is a ball of energy. He is on the move and enjoys being active. Francisco has a wonderful personality and makes not only me, but also his classmates laugh often. Things don't always come natural with Francisco, but he is determined and works hard to complete every task to the best of his abilities. Thank you, parents, for doing such a great job. Gracias a los padres por sus esfuerzos. Francisco Tena. Congratulations. No, perfect. I have to start the
Mr. Tabor, would you like to do the middle school, please?
We have the pleasure of doing honoring three individuals this month. We don't have our Student of the Month here, does it look? So we're going to start off with our first one. We have the Nsd Employee of the Month, Mr. Talon Vickers. Please come up. So if you guys don't know Talon came to us from Parma. He's obviously a Nissa guy, right? The families go here, so it's been pretty nice to have him. This is his second year with us at Nissa. Couple things that I enjoy about him. I wrote these down so I didn't forget all of them. It didn't sound like I was making it up on the fly. Mr. Vickers established a classroom environment that is safe for students to take risks and receive instruction. He consistently takes the time for students to display and develop their math thought processes. Students are allowed to demonstrate their understanding in non-threatening ways during individual, small group, and whole group instruction. It's really pretty neat, actually. Talon does a great job of talking about his craft and participating in the middle school PLC. He wants all the students to experience success and does a wonderful job working with ELL, SPED, and learners of all ability levels. Mr. Vickers loves to teach, and he gets excited when the students share their enthusiasm for learning math. He's always looking for ways to use the strength of each individual to help them become more comfortable with their math practices and understanding. The greatest compliment I heard from a kid last week when I asked him about how things are going in Mr. Vickers' class and if she likes the way he teaches was the following: good. I like how he teaches us. It makes sense to me. I used to suck at math, but now I feel like I get most of what he wants us to do. Congratulations on making a difference in the lives of our students and being the Nsd Employee of the Month. We also have the pleasure to honor the Parent of the Month, and it'd be Mrs. Amy Murdoch. might be the most reluctant Amy ever is, just so everybody knows, okay? So there's a couple things about Amy. Amy's what I would call a yes girl, meaning that you ask Amy and it's kind of in the deal, right? She'll tell you yes, right? And so if there's anything that needs done, she'll do it, right? And she's not well, what do you want me to do? She's like, when, where, why, how, right? And is one of the first people there. So I'm going to read this. It's a pleasure to recognize Amy Murdoch as Parent of the Month for this school district. We'd like to thank her for her commitment to her children. And let's be honest, she's a really great mother also. Their teachers and their activities. So, for example, she helps out with cross country and she's currently helping out with wrestling and helping supervise. And, is there every single day to help, obviously, with some of related with her family stuff, but also in terms of just helping other kids. And it's really awesome. Amy is committed to the success of all individuals she encounters during her daily travels through Nissa School District. While she spends most of her day working as a member of the cafeteria staff, she can be found most afternoons and evenings volunteering her time throughout the district. I don't know if she really knows how to say no. As a result, the staff and students of Nsd are better off because she's such a dependable yes. If you need someone to do anything for kids, Miss Amy is your girl. It does not matter how difficult or how far-fetched, she's always willing to try to figure out a way she can help. When most people are still asking what, like I said, she's consistently be found asking when, where, and why. Thank you for always being one of the first to fill any need that might arise. Congratulations on your honor, and thank you for being just such a great parent to your children and all the children in this school district.
He's not here, so.
Yeah, let's read it. So you know. Put it on record, because he's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, can you move over here? So, there you go.
Mr. Jackman, the high school?
All righty, last but not least, Mackenzie Cade, come on down. You gotta sit up over here so you can see. Teachers are noticing Mackenzie. She is pleasant, respectful, and hardworking. She earned 3 A's for semester 1. And with a 3.87 cumulative GPA, she's in the top 10 of her class. Mackenzie is currently a junior and truly enjoying her school, but she is one of the only juniors her school workplace. That's a wonderful. Teachers. Mrs. Dr. Rachel, she says, Mackenzie Cade is an impressive young woman who exhibits great depth of character and determination. She encourages her peers, is an excellent team member, and demonstrates strong communication skills. Mackenzie is a delight to have as a student because she genuinely wants to learn and grow. She always has a warm, reading, and a ready smile. And when I read that, warm, reading, and a ready smile, along with depth of character and determination, that's Mr. Long says, I have Mackenzie as a TA for my MSP class. She's a very valuable student. She does a great job in helping me get the P equipment ready for class and everything else I need help with. Keep up the good work, Mackenzie. So that's just 3 of us. That's the nomination process. All your teachers agree. If the teachers agree, you don't get here. So know that much you love and appreciate. So there's a certificate here. Okay. I will put that on there. I'll let you put that on. And if this is the wrong size, come straight. Okay. But thank you. Thank you.
Good job, Mackenzie.
Thank you, principals. Are they gonna go get their pictures taken? Or?
All of our students, maybe before we do that, Mr. Murray, you have a moment?
Absolutely. So we have a
So,
you're fine.
presentation from our students that we'd like to share with you all.
All right.
Right there. Stand for the left. You. Okay.
Was so sweet.
That's why we do it. Thank you. That's great.
And then notice all of the cute things that the kids made for us. All of these beautiful displays and sweets. And yeah, they did so good.
Please pass on our thanks to the staff. Left, so we didn't. Is Mr. Lasnick here?
I don't see
So
Mr.
Mr.
Left.
Lasnick is coordinating his presentation here. He's trying to time that with the national anthem for the basketball game.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And so if we can do one more agenda item first, that
That would be fine. Is that, everyone okay
would
with that?
take pictures.
That way Mr. Lastic doesn't have to hear about superintendent.
Okay, so next we will have Dr. Johnson's superintendent report.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. As you can see, school board, I have given you a draft of a proposed calendar for next school year. I did not make a second one, just one of the things we have talked about, it's been a real challenge for us to figure out how to find common planning time for our teachers. So it has worked at the elementary a little bit. They have a different schedule than our secondary teachers, but it's always hard to find when there is time for them to coordinate and plan. Like if you're an English teacher, you share curriculum with other English teachers and math teachers similarly. So we have what we call PLCs, professional learning communities. This is those of you who've been in education have heard that term. And teachers coordinate, they plan, they examine student data, they figure out ways to address the needs of students. And that needs to happen often. It's a concept that we've been working on in education to try to get our students. So what we are proposing is either a late start Monday, which is,
Late start for the students, but not the teachers, so the
no,
teachers have
teachers
time.
come regular. It's a late start for students. We know no matter what we do, it's a little bit of an impact on student time and buses and those sorts of things, and therefore parents' schedules. Or, and I do not have this copy of this calendar, and of course, we will run them by each classified and certified associations for them to look at them and give feedback before. Well, we just wanted the board, I wanted to present to you the concept of either a late start Monday or an early out Friday. So I did not give the early out Friday. It would be a similar number of days on early out Fridays, not every Friday, but most Fridays. So, Mr. Hawkins, do you have any input on that? Okay, thank you.
But no, the Fridays would mirror the Mondays we just do on those full 5-day weeks is when you see that planning time. I think it is, as you guys see it, it is an investment in teachers. That's what the PLC time is. Teachers have that time to where there's no kids running in, there's no, for teachers to sit down, work together, as a common staff and plan and actually put that there. And you guys know how it's teachers.
How long is it? I mean, you said late start.
So we're looking at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So
About 1 hour.
We have 8:45 here.
yeah, so 8:45. So it would be, they would have a full hour to plan.
I would be curious to hear what the teachers want. I think if they have an opinion over Mondays versus Fridays, I'm happy to respect that.
Would it do any good, like for high school and middle school with sports when they have to travel for games, would help coaches or students or?
So maybe you're saying that the Monday would be better because on Fridays or in the afternoon, they might.
Well, no, I
Need
mean,
to
kids,
travel?
kids miss Friday afternoon anyway,
Yeah.
so
Early out.
they wouldn't be missing class.
Oh, I
Because
see.
when they have to travel to Umatilla, for example, they leave early, right?
Uh-huh.
It's still not gonna be early enough to.
Yeah,
it would
but
help.
might help.
Our only concern with that is, it is for the staff to invest in. So when you have Fridays, when people are gonna be gone, then
The
what you
coaches.
really have for the staff to plan and work together,
You want to get out of
staff will be gone. And so we're trying to avoid that. But then it's not gonna change the classified still come in at their same time. And be able to help catch up and do those things as well. So
So it's not
there won't be an economic impact.
for our
classified
classified,
staff.
correct.
For the upper grades, will the kids just miss first period once a month? Or are you going to shorten the periods on that day to cover everybody?
Yeah, we shorten it so you still have those class. For each class.
Okay,
And the idea was in the morning, because then it's uninterrupted time, students aren't even in the building. At the end of the day, the students stick around to wait for practice. So we still have students there are trying to do OCI and everything else, we have the distractions. First thing in the morning, students wouldn't even be there, it would just be sacred time for PLC.
good idea.
So, and then our concern with Friday is so many of our teachers are also coaches. So we would not have our PLC teams intact for that.
And as you know, there are Mondays, several Mondays off throughout the school year, holidays that we have, and so it's not gonna be every, and I think this was kind of the idea that we wanted, as you can see, the semester ends just after the new year. So in this proposal, we pinched it pretty tight this year to try to get the semester to end before Christmas, but in this draft, it ends on the 12th of January. So basically 2 weeks after returning from Christmas break. And then we end on May 25th, and we begin, new teachers will begin on August 15th. First teacher day is the 16th of August. So similar, very similar to last year. Anyway, we're gonna get some feedback, obviously, from the classified and certified associations, and calendars, it's hard to open it up to everybody because there is just no way to meet everybody's requests. So it's not that we don't want input, we do, but I don't know how to manage it all is part of our issue. So we want the board to be aware of these proposals. And of course,
I will say though, just from a parent, two working parents.
Yeah.
I mean, one day different in the week is pretty drastic.
Hard.
I mean, it's like extreme. I don't think people realize that how extreme it can be. And it can be very difficult. I mean, I'm out of it now, my uncut driver's license, to watch out. But,
Oh, no.
but, you know, there are certain, and at certain times, you know, it's maybe not as bad when they're catching the bus, but there's, you know, all these, it's definitely something to, I mean,
To upend people's schedules like that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's super difficult. So especially if you're only doing it one day in the week and not every Monday.
Correct.
Was it a Monday? I mean,
Is this an early start?
early Monday? Was it a late Monday? Which was it? Blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, just from a community member standpoint, and one of the people that would have been in the past really hard for me.
Okay.
No.
People with young kids especially.
Like I said,
Okay.
middle of the road kids are even worse. They have practices and they have stuff all over to do, and young kids. Two parents working, that's what I would be concerned about.
Okay. Thank you. So that's certainly we will accept feedback as we go. That we're not voting on it today, and looking at it through the next month, hopefully February. And so, as you can see, number 2 on my superintendent's report, I was waiting for a nurse to get back with me. She's just been so swamped on the phone with calls back and forth to families and the health department. So I did not get those. The last count I had was 6 positive, I think, in the district. We post those on the website. So we want to get those updates. I want to get a tennis court repair update. Jesse Melendez is coaching basketball tonight, so was not able to be here. But he did tell me, I know we've spoken, and Luke, I think you weighed in last time and said that the tennis courts are probably playable this coming spring. I don't think they're ideal, you know, with the size of the cracks out there. We do have a company that will fix it to be playable for $10,000 for this year, but I don't think that's a permanent long-term fix. Certainly, we would hope it would last 2 years, but we can't guarantee that it would. So, and then our high school HVAC upgrade, I know that was some concern. There was a little bit of turmoil or turnover, I guess I should say, with Design West Architects. The guy who had been our architect has left the company now, so the company is reassigning a new architect. It's to us, which is fine. He's able to take, he or she is able to take. We don't have that person yet, but I have been speaking with Benetton, the construction company, the manager that we did award the contract to lead the project. And he's been pretty swamped, but he will meet with me Thursday morning at 8:30. If any school board members would like to be there, you're certainly invited to be there and ask questions. I know it's a challenge, maybe a difficult time for some of you, but we can't have more than 3 of you. But just as far as public meeting laws go, but if 3 of you or less want to come, that would be great. It'd be here in this room. And as you can see, the School Board Appreciation Month, we do appreciate the work you do. You obviously ran because you're interested in our school, in our community, and our students and families. And it means a lot. It's kind of thankless in a lot of ways. You don't really, I mean, this is probably the biggest payment you're going to get here. And but other than appreciation and satisfaction for helping and letting your voice be heard for our community, so thank you. I do appreciate working with you and the guidance you give to us in our school. I did not include this, but as I was looking through the local service plan, I wanted to. This will be later in the meeting. It's on the agenda. It's from the ESD. It kind of highlights the expenditures and things. And the things they do for us. One of those is our CTE programs, and we have a big focus on that, especially in our community. There's a lot of jobs, I think, that are available for our career and technical education students who don't follow a traditional college path, but they follow a lucrative career in different fields. And so when I got here, Mrs. Iverson, or Dr. Iverson, was very much involved in a community thing called the P2P, Poverty to Prosperity. It had been begun by several community members interested in helping our students learn about the career and technical education, not just taking the classes that we offer here, but what is available to you afterward. That kind of ran into the ground a little bit soon after my arrival, and I was trying to figure out how to be involved to the same level Dr. Iverson was, but we are resurrecting that and beginning again as a county. That was led by Mark Redmond, the superintendent at the ESD. And our next scheduled meeting to begin this again, to emphasize this to our students, is on January 26th. So county superintendents will meet with Treasure Valley Community College and hopefully some business leaders and CTE to get that going again, to emphasize our students for that.
Where will that meeting be?
That, I believe it's in Ontario at the Four Rivers. I have it on my calendar, but I forget. Thank you.
Just let us know.
Certainly, and I can check to see if board members could attend. That would be great if you could. And then I know there was obviously some concern. We talked about starting an online component to our school. We know that there are a lot of students and families out there searching for opportunities, not just in our district, but across this state. So we received tentative approval from the school board to move forward with working with MyTech High, a company to offer curriculum and services to elementary only. So they began advertising over the weekend. Today was the first day students could sign up. And we had 21 signups today.
Mhm.
So I know we talked about limiting it to 20, but we may want to have a work study to discuss that. Because anyway, there's some strategy there. Just per conversations with some board members, I also consulted, last board meeting, I consulted with our attorney who represents our school district, Mike Horton. And he had several suggestions. He was going to email me those. I think he must have gotten busy and forgot, but we spoke on the phone today again, and he will have those to us, and I can share that with you as soon as I do receive some of his thoughts. They weren't really concerns. They were just make sures of things. And then our classified association had appeared to us to request additional sick leave because of several other pressing situations. The board has not been able to meet to have a final answer on that. I know we have representatives here for that. And so I'm proposing that we do a work session to discuss, a couple of these items that we designate for that. And then I think the last item I have is just my evaluation, superintendent evaluation begins in January, and that would probably be an executive session to meet and discuss that. So
Back on number 6 with those 21 students, are any of those in district?
no, none of them are. He named them. They were all over the state. They were Medford, Beaverton, Hillsborough, Portland Public. Yeah, they were all over. None of them here.
Is there any other discussion? So we need to set up do we want to do that now? Set up a work session or?
I propose that we do it on the, just every other month, not the next Monday, but the following. So we have basically 2 weeks in between. We do need to discuss. So we kind of have a Monday, but if that doesn't work for people,
What Monday would that be?
Been looking.
The 24th, if we're
Okay.
skipping next Monday and going to the second one.
You want to do the work session and the executive session?
yeah.
Well,
We
we
could
could
do
do
work-
work session and then go into
Right,
executive
yeah.
session. How does the 24th work for everyone?
Works for me.
That should work.
At what time?
Should we start a little earlier since there's so much to discuss? We could do 6.
Mondays are super hard.
Oh, are they?
At 6, especially.
Okay.
Does 7 work better?
I don't want to change it just for me, but Mondays at 6 are pretty hard.
Well,
6:30.
What,
How about
what,
6:30?
what days are best?
Tuesday's the best day, actually, believe it or not.
Martin, would a Tuesday work?
I'm okay
I
with
have
the
no
Tuesday.
problem with Tuesday.
That would be the 25th. Okay. So
I can do 6 though.
Tuesday, the 25th,
At 6 p.m. At 6? Yeah.
in here.
And that's a work study and then to turn into an executive session.
Yes.
Is there any other discussion on the superintendent's report? I had a question. Did Jesse was going to go to some of the other schools that had that surface? I can't remember what it was called. And look at it and see if it was how it was.
The field trip.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet because of the snow and ice.
Did he find one close by that's done that?
He didn't tell me that he had, but I'm sure there are.
I'd be happy to go look at
Yeah.
it.
Because I looked at this and I wouldn't be worried about a ball going awry. I'd be worried about a little girl tripping and falling. They're pretty substantial
Yeah.
cracks.
Twist your ankle. I mean, I've seen people twist their ankles in a really narrow crack just because it's uneven, you know?
Okay. So that's still in the works.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, are you, Ms. Mark Lasnick here? Are we ready to go back to him? I guess he has a presentation to make. Come on up.
So if I can introduce him. For process, Dr. Johnson and I have, over the last couple of months, looked at trips that are cross state lines, overnight trips. And made a decision that for process, that we can bring those to you as a school board, so that you're aware of them and provide guidance and approval for those. And so they, back before COVID hit, Mark got approval and he was raising money to do with the Jazz Festival in Reno. And it was a go until they canceled. And so he's here to share a vision for a trip for our students.
We're gonna try it again.
I don't know if you've heard them perform. They're outstanding. And anyway, so with that, I'll
If you have any questions, you can ask me, but I'm gonna let them talk about it.
My name's.
Yeah, just stand over here so you're on.
Over here?
Yeah.
There's a camera.
Oh, okay.
Come up here. There we go.
Face
Yeah,
the
face the camera.
Um, My name's Amber Lovett. I'm a junior and I play the alto saxophone. And this is my first year with Nsd Jazz Band. The music that we play is amazing. And for the Reno trip, I feel like it would expose not only myself, but the other instrumentalists in the band to a higher level of jazz music, as well as those more experienced jazz players. I think that's My name is Sarah Sevis, and I've been in jazz band since 7th grade, and I play the bass guitar. I would love to go to Reno because there's going to be such a broad variety of different people and different age groups of musicians. And I'm excited for seeing professionals play. I think it's very inspiring, especially to our age group as high school students decide what they want to do with their life. It can be really exciting to see somebody successful and passionate in something they do. And I also think it will help us grow as players, hearing other people. Personally, I've been in a band since middle school, and we've grown really close, like more of a family than peers now. And I think it's very fun. Good job.
Thanks, Joe.
When would this trip be?
It'd be at the end of April, I think the 28th, 29th, 30th.
So you spent 2 nights down there.
Yeah, I had originally put 3 down, but I think 2 is probably what we'll end up doing. Yeah,
And are you thinking flying or driving?
driving,
I guess with all this.
school bus.
And how's your fundraising been going?
We raised quite a bit of money before we weren't able to go. I think we have about $2,500 now, and it's gonna cost around $4,000. And so we're planning on a dinner, to have a dinner that we're gonna have the jazz band perform at and invite, so have them sell tickets to. And I think that should raise a substantial amount, and should help us get the rest of it.
So how many kids are gonna go?
It's about, I think about 16, I think is what we have.
And if you have not been to one of our basketball games to hear band play, it's really remarkable.
So do
How
we
many
need to vote on?
instruments do you play?
It's a-
Do we need to vote on?
You're
this?
not just a bass guitar.
Yeah.
You're both multi-instrument.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amber just picked up the clarinet this year because she needed one, and so she's learning that and doing a really good job. So.
How many chaperones would you take besides yourself?
At least a couple. So, I mean, with 16 kids, we should have at least 2, I would think. So,
I would like to say that, NISA has produced over the years several professional musicians.
Oh,
And we have had a musician who actually played in the Boston Philharmonic.
oh,
Wow.
Who
So,
was that?
you know, it's a terrific, terrific department. I'm very, very proud of your music department.
thank you.
Absolutely. Good job. Would someone like to make a motion to approve this trip?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
We want to hear a report though.
Okay. all
We
right.
want to hear it content,
Will do.
actually. The motion has been carried.
And let us know when the dinner is, because that would be fantastic.
you bet. Will do.
Please.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Yes.
I apologize for interrupting. I just checked my calendar.
Good job.
Sorry about that. The 25th is an away game for the
Ah.
basketball team, so my daughter will be playing.
So you will
in
be
Burns
here.
that night, but
Nope. So the 25th
I
is
can
out,
stay
so we
here.
need to look at our calendars and,
I'll make it.
okay.
just do it at 6:30.
At 6:30.
Maybe we should have dinner for him so that he,
We'll have dinner.
But at 6:30. Can we do 6:30 on the 24th?
sure.
Sorry, Megan.
Is that okay with you, Megan?
Just-
Strike that.
Oh, I meant Megan, okay.
So the 24th at 6:30.
Apologize.
Nope.
Didn't check my calendar.
That's great. Okay, it looks like it's time for our financial report from Crystal.
Do I have to talk to the camera or can I talk
No,
to you
not
guys?
to the board.
Okay,
There you
so tonight I have financials for the board through the 31st of December, 2021. On the second page is the rundown of the revenue we brought in and the expenditures that went out. For the month of December, in the general fund, we brought in $1,126,000 and we sent out $1,193,000. So we spent more than what we brought in. And the reason is we got our very large bills from the ESD that we have our contracts with. They invoice us half for 6 months, and then they'll invoice us again for the remaining of our contracts at the end of the year. But you can still see we are carrying that 3.1 million. We're going to carry that month to month to month until we get to the month of June, where we don't receive a state school fund, and we process 3 payrolls that month. So we need all that money to get through June. After the general fund report is our LGIP for our district account, what went in that account, what went out of that account. And the things that you see coming out of the account, that's just us transferring money to our checking account so we can pay our payroll and pay our bills. After that is the report from the county showing the breakdown of the taxes we received to that LGIP account. And then after that is our operating statement for our middle school bond fund. We ended the month with a little over $289,000. Our next payment is going to be in June, and it is a little over $300,000. So over the next couple of months, we'll just be collecting those taxes and saving all that money to pay our next debt service payment. After that report is just then the LGIP information for our bond account, what money went in. As you can see, no money went out with the exception of 5 cents, and that is because I transferred our payment out last month and we get charged 5 cents for every transfer. After that is just the report from the county, the taxes we received on that account. And then is our operating statement for our early Head Start program. We ended December deposited $43,718. So we're doing really well. We did fill our private pay spot that was vacant, that got filled.
This is a big deal. This is a lot of years.
Yeah, so we're doing really well there. And I will say Cindy, who supervises the program, we can buy a lot of consumables through OCDC, but she's doing a really good job trying to find even less expensive items like gloves and diapers and things like that, and wipes, trying to save all that money we can. So, and then the next operating statement I have for you is the food service as of December 31st. And that would be a positive number.
Yes.
That is not a red number. So that's very good.
Changed.
What changed? So menuing has been changing. I know they try their best to provide a menu, but based on what they can get, they've got to change it. So I think they were using a lot of things that were already in stock and making menus that way to not purchase so much. We've also been an employee short, so we haven't been paying wages for one whole employee. But that will change because they've now hired someone. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. Following that report is our payroll for the month of December. We did run 3 payrolls, our regular payroll, and then we did our longevity to our staff. That was our second payroll. And then I believe someone resigned, so we had to do a final payroll. So that's why you see 3 payrolls that month. And then finally, the approval of the bills report. This is from December 4th through the end of the year. And that is all I have for you. No surprises this month.
That's good.
That's great.
That is good. You're welcome. Does anyone have questions or other questions?
Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Crystal.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to the consent agenda. Any discussion on it? Or would someone like to make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Your second?
Okay.
All in favor? Okay, the motion is carried. Okay, now we'll go to old business. We have a new A. Mrs. Mornaka would like to give an update on the LPC position.
Okay, I believe it was last month, we voted on the LPC, which is the Legislative Policy Committee for OSBA. And I was running for that position. I was the incumbent. I lost the election to
Somebody
Bruce Kevin of LeGrand. And I have been in communication with Bruce. I congratulated him on his win. And I have been in communication with him. And he asked that I serve as the link from our board to him and to the LPC group. And I said I would be very happy to do that if I could have the consent of our board. Absolutely, I think that's a wonderful idea. So,
Yep.
anyway,
We have a
I'm not
concept.
asking for a motion, just, if you
You
guys,
have our blessing.
thank you.
Read on the vote.
I think now Mrs. Mornaka is gonna go over the final reading, so it would be on the back page that used to be B as C of some of those policy updates.
Okay, I would like to do the final reading on the policy updates. They are listed as on our old original agenda, they would be listed as B and that they will stay as B. I would like to recommend to the board that we accept all of those policies except for number 7, which is the CM, compliance and reporting on standards. It's highly recommended. We currently do not have this policy, but on the superintendent's recommendation, he does that. We do that routinely. It's a routine thing.
It's state law, it's called the Division 22 report. And if it's state law, then we have to report that every November. So.
No, and
Couldn't see the reason for policy on it.
yeah, it just seems that it's redundant, and my own thinking is once you adopt a policy, you're locked into it. So sometimes it's better, since we're doing it anyway, that we just continue our current practice. And on number 8, the DJC bidding requirements, I want to note that we wanted to do version 2 of that. We do have a bidding policy already, but that is the version that was recommended in version 2. So unless anyone has any questions or comments on the final reading of these policies, I would like to make a motion that we adopt these policies except for the CM policy and the DJC policy, we adopt version 2.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Okay, the motion is carried.
Okay, then our new item C, which is the second reading of policy starting with IA. I would like to note that on policy, the one listed is number 6, which would be IIA, that what we were looking at is version 2. And I would like to note that on number 8, which is IKF, graduation requirement, that is a conditionally required policy, that Dr. Johnson has made notes on that policy stating, we already have it for one thing, but he would like the board to review that. And right now, OSBA is, not OSBA, but the Department of Education, right, is reviewing that. And what he's suggesting is that we adopt it for the language that is there, the language changes that they have made. And if the state makes changes, we will again receive another policy to look at. To go on number 12, policy JBB, we currently do not have this policy. It's educational equity. Dr. Johnson recommends that we do adopt this policy, and I looked through it, and I feel strongly that we should also adopt it.
Say that we should wait. I recommend waiting on this policy for JBB. You're looking the wrong one.
Well, I just think there's, the equity, as we're all aware, is kind of a really big buzzword in the state right now across in a lot of areas, whether that's regarding race or culture or ethnicity or sexual identity. And there's a lot of things that are occurring right now. I think, probably advisable to wait. It's not required, but we can. A lot of it is we are being, through the legislature, required to do stuff anyway. So it's as you had said earlier, adopting policies never get taken off. They only get added to, right? So we're currently required by the state to consider where we treat every student with respect and find place and welcoming environment for all of our students. We've talked about a lot of the things in here that would, we haven't seen a lot of influx of refugees from across the country like a lot of school districts have. We haven't seen that, but we may very well get something like that. People who are coming as refugees from other areas, relocating for whatever reason. So what we're doing right now in our school and district is finding welcoming ways, places for all of our students, for them to have space that they feel happy and secure and appreciated for who they are. I think that's how we do things in NISA. That's one of the reasons I have to say I came back like a bad penny. I came back because I've always appreciated and loved that about NISA, that there is place for everyone here. But you encode this in policy. I think it's already encoded in state law, a lot of this stuff. So I don't know I'm not opposed to adopting it. I just think it's procedures we already do. It's procedures that are protected in state law already.
Okay, then I would agree with you that we should wait on this. And this is probably something that will come back to us. Okay, and then as I went through this, number 22, the KGBB, firearms prohibited. I would like to say no, that we do not adopt this policy. We currently do not have it. But I would like to say that we should not adopt this policy. We have in the group that we already adopted, there is a policy on firearms for, regarding students. This policy, the KGBB, again, as Dr. Johnson stated, and I have said, spoken with him also, that sometimes the fewer policies we have, the better off we are, because we get locked in. Now,
So, as you say, the very first sentence on policy KGBB is that under ORS statute, it is already allowed. People are allowed to
Correct.
carry. And we have our chief of police here, and I think we talked to Robert about this some weeks and months ago, and he learned that, there was one law when I was here in Oregon before. I left in 2009. I was under the impression that you could not have a weapon within 1,000 feet of a school district. That's what Robert thought was the old law, but there indeed people can have concealed carry by law, by statute, protected under Oregon law already. And I don't want to adopt a policy limiting the law.
Well, the JFCJ already covers
this
everything
week,
that needs to be.
yes, it covers what needs to be covered.
Mhm.
That's my thinking anyway, so. Yeah, I do too.
Okay, so do we need to do anything on it?
So if we have no objections or anything, I would like to make the motion that we adopt these policies except for the JBB, the educational equity, and the KGBB, firearms prohibited. And to note that on the IIA, instructional resources, instructional materials, that we are adopting version 2.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. Thank you, Mrs. Marnaka, for going over those with us. Okay, number 9, new business. We have the Malheur ESD Region 14 Local Service Plan.
So this is a standard document. It's after the policies. If you look at that, I don't know if you've spent some time reviewing it either now or in the past, but it really is a very informative document. It contains a lot of information about who the employees and administration is at the ESD. If you have questions, their school board there, their budget board members is very important information. And then on page 5, it talks about the strategic priorities of the education service district, why they exist, and the services they provide. The last one is what I had talked with you about on January 26th. The P2P is going to start meeting again because I think that's a reemphasis in the county to try to create opportunities for our students in the CTE and STEM fields. And then on page 6, you can go through and see the breakup of how many school districts are served in the Malheur ESD, a lot of good demographic information on also programs that they offer on page 7. And then beginning on page 8, they start with the breakdown of the finances, where they get their money. They receive money per the services that we contract with from each of the school districts. And see the people that they employ on page 9 and how they fund those positions. And then page 10, all of the people that are employed again through there and who they serve, the jobs, the positions that they hold. And then on page 12, beginning all the services we provided, the curriculum and instruction, the STEM hub, with some of the online credit recovery, CTE programs, and youth transition programs for youth who are needing help through high school, either incarceration or through the juvenile system. Then there's some early intervention on page 14. And then they have, that's an interesting combination, the water testing and the substitute maintenance.
What's
So,
the water testing? I wondered what that
well, you
was.
know, when we have kids in schools, we have to test water to make sure the water they're taking out of the fountain is safe and not harmful. And so there's a cost to that, right? And then also substitute maintenance, that those two, it's kind of an odd pairing to have, but substitute teachers in the online system is ASOP that we have where we schedule our substitutes through there. And then this is known as the the local service plan, LSP. And so if you have any questions, we do on the very last page we have to approve this. If a school district, you don't have to approve it tonight. If you feel like you want to either ask more questions or have a discussion, or you can approve it tonight if you'd like. It's a pretty standard plan that we have adopted in every year in the past.
Anybody have any discussion or questions?
I would make a note that their budget board is looking for additional budget board members, so anyone here who's interested, please apply.
It's fun, isn't it, Crystal? Yeah.
So do we need to make,
Budget.
do we need to make a motion tonight to go ahead and adopt this?
If you'd like.
I think we should. I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Wanna
I
make a
would
motion?
make a motion that we adopt the Malheur ESD local service plan.
For a second,
Monitored.
all in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
So you want us to take the signature page off and give it to Megan?
Susie can sign it.
Oh,
I think
just you, okay.
Was there a B?
Those are just the board studies that I have talked about,
Okay,
that I had presented in my superintendent's
and we're
report
gonna go ahead and meet
on
and just
January
and
24th.
talk about this. Okay, is there anything else that anyone needs to bring up? Before we adjourn?
Is there any audience
Is there
comment?
any audience comments? Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone, thank our students for these nice things.
Nice to be appreciated.
It's very nice. Very, very
Our
nice.
elementary school students always do just such a good.
And I love the video. Is that an original song or is that something that,
Found it.
that is really good?
Hot cheers to my.
That was really good.
Almost made me want to go back. but
Not quite.
I do have to say this, interestingly enough, I don't know what state this was or what city or district, but they were pleading with retired teachers to come back because they couldn't find enough subs where they were.
Well, and then I guess, sorry to
No,
relay
you're
that.
fine.
What's the situation on the bus drivers? Were you able to find someone to cover that route that there was not a bus driver for? Because I saw the text that came through that said children on bus 7 or 4.
It was bus 4 that we were having trouble with.
Yeah.
Do we have enough drivers?
It's ongoing, we don't have enough drivers. We're working on getting people certified with their CDL. And it's just hard to find people.
I don't even drive my car in the snow. Donnie, I bet you have your CDL.
So unfortunately, what we've done is we have one person in the morning, one person in the afternoon. And the day that we were having trouble with all that, if you'll remember, it was a super snowy day. And it was Jesse Melendez, our maintenance supervisor, is driving that bus in the morning. And because there was so much snow, he just couldn't do it. So it was a mess and we apologize, but we're working on it, right? So we just can't drum up people to drive bus. We're looking for lots of, if anybody have any truck drivers from your farm that would be willing to, at least temporarily, would be wonderful to have their CDL.
That seems to be a problem of a lot of districts, a lot of school districts.
All right, Meeting.
Can you guys still do CDL training for the future of the district? I know that Christmas.
Mr. Hawkins was working on that. He's over the bus department. We are trying to do that for people.
Oh, speak of the
There
devil.
he is. Bus drivers, we're out talking about bus drivers and our shortage and the difficulties. That may be part of our board study too, just to. Cindy asked a question, are we doing CDL training?
Are you guys going to be doing future CDL trainings or just?
Anybody who responded, we've emailed them, Phil emailed them again today. And said, hey, as soon as you get your test done and that, we're ready to train you. And like I said, we had 8 people reply and nobody's gone through it yet. So, but I know one of them for sure is still reading his book, but so that's kind of where we're at. And if you guys heard on last week, we had some last minute cancels. I mean, and it threw our community kind of in a loop. We've been running on subs for a really long time. And so we're kind of at a place where we need to talk about creative solutions there.
Right.
Do we need to pay them more or what's, I don't know, I need something to get them.
That's just a problem that all these districts are having. Yeah. Yeah.
Getting people to work.
The solution that is not popular, but it's something we need to take seriously look at is ODE law, right, with ODOT is really anybody within a mile of school walks. And we're able to
That's
get away
state law.
with it right now because we make it a part of a larger route. Right,
Mhm.
and so we might have to go back to that. And we as a community and as the board has always said, you know, with the sidewalks, with the traffic, with all those things, we don't want kids to walk. But right now, to make sure that we can get everybody to school, we might have to look at that solution. And so part of that board study session, and we want to let the community know as advanced as possible. That's something we would like to kind of talk about and look at in this one.
If we can't find drivers.
If we can't, and we're trying. We've met with you several times, and I mean, we're trying. Anybody and everybody, we're trying.
That should be part of our board study. don't
We
you
could add
think?
that to it.
Because
It's a big deal.
It is.
big problem.
We should.
And we want to
study
support you guys
CDL.
however we can.
We should study it in the CDL.
Of course. I mean, I know you've
You
got one.
probably already got it. So you should start there.
No,
That's
that's right.
We can't pay you.
Oh, that's right.
Well, you have to resign.
Yeah.
Right from the
Yeah.
board.
Do a volunteer.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Only 2 things.